What's up, guys? Today we're gonna go meet my friend Paul, aka the Traveling Clap. He's a YouTuber with over 200,000 subscribers, and he makes travel videos about traveling around the world, from Egypt all the way to China. Super interesting guy, and today we're gonna see what is in his camera bag and what kind of gear he takes to make videos while traveling the world. Let's go. Paul.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Okay, so, Paul, how long have you been traveling and making YouTube videos for?
I have been traveling and making YouTube videos. Actually, they coincided. I started making YouTube videos when I first started traveling about 9 years ago.
Oh my God! So the gear that you've used throughout this journey. How many YouTube subscribers do you have now?
240 something thousand.
And it sounds like through this journey you've had good gear, bad gear, things that have failed.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like almost been a full circle of starting off with really minimalist gear.
Yeah.
Going like as hard as I can, the biggest camera, biggest lens possible, and finding my way back to small cameras again.
Okay, well, I'm excited to talk about that journey with you.
Yeah.
We're doing a video for both of our channels today. And so if you guys want to see the video that he did about my journey living here, I'll leave a link to his channel in the description down below.
Come check me out. I mean, I started on something like this, GoPro Hero 3 Plus in 2013. And then as my first trip went on, my first trip ever on my channel, when I went to Africa, I did a trip through Zambia, Botswana, South Africa, and Zimbabwe. It was my first ever trip. I filmed everything on the 3 Plus, the GoPro Hero 3 Plus. No stabilization. 4K was shot at 12 frames per second back then. That's how you could shoot 4K. You only had the option of linear and wide. And it was like, I mean, whenever you shoot 4K, it was like horrible. But I think you could shoot like 2.7K at like 24 frames. Yeah. That was probably the limit at the time. And the camera would overheat. It had these like weird clunky batteries. And then yeah, I used the GoPro mostly for the first year. And I was really inspired by like a group of travel vloggers from the UK at the time. It was Fun for Louis, and there was a guy named Ben Brown. And they all used, I don't even know what to call these cameras. They were like little handheld...
Point and shoots.
Point and shoots, that's what it was.
Yeah.
So it was like, I had like a Canon S120 and...
Yeah, this is like very throwback, but it was like what Casey Neistat would use as like the quick, he had a name like the quick draw,
yeah.
like the...
Yeah, something like that. It was a really good camera. I had a bunch of, I can't remember the models. One of them was like a Canon S120. Mm-hmm. One of them was like a Canon ELF.
The
ELPH. Yeah. I had like this little red one, and it was actually surprisingly really good. Like this LCD was amazing. The zoom was really good, and then that S120 had this crazy. It has like a 60 times zoom.
Yeah.
It was like a camcorder. I would be sitting like super far away, I could zoom in on whatever. I don't know. Vlogs back then were easy. They were like 5 minutes. You just had some music in there. You weren't really telling much of a story.
And so then maybe this is like a more like interesting. What was the editing process like for you at that time?
Oh man, the editing was so much fun. I used to edit on an iMac before I saved up money. When I really committed to traveling, I was like, I sold the iMac and just got, I think it was probably either a MacBook Air or a MacBook Pro 2015 version, something like that. Mm. Really clunky, really fat. I still have it back home. And I was pretty well versed in Final Cut because I was doing freelance video editing before that. So yeah, it was like, I'd reach out to artists on YouTube that I'd find like music artists and use like some nice funky music. All of those videos have been copyright stricken.
Right, yeah. I have all of my travel videos from Thailand.
Everything.
Like I would spend like hours finding like a playlist of copyright-free music. Now all of the artists have copyright in their music.
It's literally like some big artists that now they're huge. They're actually like famous.
Yeah.
And they've signed with massive labels. I have direct messages with them of me asking permission to use their music, and I've been like, yeah, sure, bro, go, because they had like 1,000 followers back in the day.
Oh man, some of them. There's one artist, Erling, E-H-R.
I used
Erling.
To use his
Yeah, me too.
I used to use his
and
music.
then Simon Moore, and then there was he did like early music for Casey Neistat. He had a couple songs, and now that like both of them are on Spotify.
Yeah, it's crazy because when you go back, a lot of YouTubers or a lot of people think when they watch a YouTuber, like, oh, you have this massive back catalog,
No.
you know, all these videos are probably making you money. I have like 800 or 900 videos on my channel. I would say a good 400 of them can't make me any money anymore.
Really?
I can't even dispute the claims.
Okay, so mine's not that bad.
Yeah, it's like literally because I was vlogging like 3 times a week. You know, I would make 3 videos a week, and some of those videos went viral. Some of those videos made a lot of money at the time. But now I can't make any money off of them anymore because they're just completely owned by a label. Or I've had to mute the video completely.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Or what they catch here?
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Anh ơi, đi có cả thanh công chúa rồi không có nhỏ thọ thế nào? 10 kg. 10 kg.
1 kilo?
Like 8-9 kilos. Bigger.
Oh, wow. 8-9
Yeah,
kilo
they-
fish in
they
here?
said- They said they had big fish and little fish.
Wow. At 8 to 9 kilo fish in here?
He said 10, but I think he's just taking the piss out of me.
When does that even exist in there? No way.
Probably not.
No.
But for sure, like I've seen like bigger and smaller fish here.
Wow, that's nuts. Just living in the wreckage of of the Vietnam War plane.
American war plane.
American War plane.
Yeah.
Pro.
Okay.
Not even the max version. I prefer the smaller version.
Okay.
And then I got sent this really cool tripod from a company called Autumn Tech. They have another version that I actually use for my for another YouTube channel I have called the Dinosaur Channel, where it's like it's actually a massive tripod, but it folds up into something maybe this big. But this one is my everyday. It's incredible. It has the phone mount.
Okay.
You can twist it to do like a narrow video
Yeah,
or
yeah.
horizontal video. It extends into a selfie stick.
And so,
And
tell
it
me,
extends into a tripod.
tell me what is this is like a very minimalist setup,
Yeah.
right? So, tell me what you've learned about traveling the world, trying to like make videos or film content in regards to gear.
I will sum it up in the most simple way possible. The camera literally doesn't matter.
Okay.
You could film. I think audio is even a little bit more important than the video. But this is something like when I first started this, I wanted to be a movie director. I used to study Steven Spielberg. He's like my biggest inspiration in life. And so when I was learning how to filmmake, I learned that like really the camera doesn't matter nowadays. It's about what story are you telling? And so when I dropped the big camera here, I didn't see necessarily a drop in views. I actually saw a pretty high spike in views, and I had my biggest spike ever when I was shooting everything just on an iPhone. I think it depends on the story, being at the right place at the right time, focusing on the right things, and not focusing so much on the technical aspect. I could accomplish the same thing with an iPhone 10 or with an iPhone 11. For 2 years, I was
Right.
filming just on an iPhone 11 Pro.
Right.
For me, the most important thing is I have dynamic lenses. I've got a wide angle, I've got like sort of the normal lens, and I got a telephoto lens, which really helps me tell my story.
But this isn't the only camera that you use, right? You have, like, even though you are primarily on iPhone, you use other cameras.
Legitimately, I would say it's 95 to 97% shot on this. For my Instagram, I have a separate iPhone 11 that I bought in Israel, used on Facebook for like $150. So I just use it for narrow video and just helps me segregate the workload. Other than that, I rarely use a GoPro, like a GoPro Hero 11 Mini,
Yeah.
and then the 10 Black. But I rarely use them because, to be honest, I found that GoPros tend to be super unreliable. And
The
like
newer ones, yeah.
yeah, they even overheat or the battery stop using. I get like about a year of use out of them before they just start crapping out.
Really?
Yeah.
I've been using a DJI Osmo Action, the first generation one, for like a little over a year, and like I had a Hero 5 Black, right? Going from the 5 Black to the DJI Osmo, I used to have like freezes, forced reboots, like stuff like that. I haven't had any issue. I haven't had a single issue in a year and a half with my DJI.
I love DJI for drones, and I use the Mini 3
Pro?
Mini 3 Pro
Yeah.
drone a lot. I don't really upload. I film with it more for fun, and maybe I'll sell that footage in the future. But GoPro, when it comes to software, like when it comes to the UI,
Yeah.
it's miles above the DJI in my opinion. DJI
Really?
is like clunky and slow.
Okay, I have my DJI Osmo Action. We'll let you try that.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Because I think that by comparison, you would not feel the same.
Really? Yeah. I'll try it out. 'cause
As someone that's used both.
I did buy the DJI Osmo Action when it first came out. When it first came out, I bought it from Best Buy, and I returned it within the same day because I was like, I hate this compared to GoPro. And I think the GoPro, I've been using every GoPro since the 3 Plus. I've had the 3 Plus, the 4, the 5, the 6, the 7, the 8, the 9, the 10, and now the 11 Mini. Between the 9 was like the perfect setup, and I almost started using it for everyday vlogging. And then it would freeze so much, they improved wildly on it on the 10. The 10 became this smooth, amazing piece of machinery that I used a lot, but I stopped using it because it's unreliable. It will freeze or it will heat up, and unless you're moving, like actually doing action with it for vlogging, if I'm in a hot environment that let's say like above 95 to 97 degrees, something around like 37 to 38 degrees Celsius, if I'm not moving constantly, having wind blowing, it'll overheat and crap out. And that's a big problem for me. The iPhone will do the same thing, but here it's more reliable. Like I can kind of keep an eye on it, tap on it to keep it alive. With the GoPro, it freezes and it freezes. And if I'm surfing or if I'm underwater and that shit freezes,
It's dead.
screwed.
So this is a camera shot.
Wait, acknowledge my haircut.
By the way, how's the haircut look?
It's good. It's really nice. I feel nice and airy.
Okay. So as you said before, you don't really use a nice camera anymore. So why are we here at a camera shop?
I need a camera bag.
And how much camera equipment are you normally carrying?
So it's become less camera equipment now and more like, I can actually explain to you exactly what I carry on me. I got a laptop and a charger, around £1.5 pounds each. It's a MacBook Pro 13-inch from 2018. And then I've got a little handheld camcorder that I've been shooting like a retro movie on for the last couple months. I've got 2 iPhones, iPhone 13 and iPhone 11. I've got a Pixel 5, and I've got this phone that I occasionally put, I always forget the name, the Oppo Flip N2 something.
Yeah.
I occasionally put this in the camera bag as well. And then I've got a drone, the DJI Mavic 3 Pro, a tripod, some microphones, some extra lights. All of that adds up to around 7 kilos to 10 kilos of stuff. Oh, and then hard drives and a bunch of cables.
Okay.
My problem is I've been traveling with like just a shitty backpack, and it's all thrown in everywhere for the last year.
2 hours later.
We just came back from the camera store.
Yep.
Can we get a little camera bag tour? Can you tell us the bag you chose, maybe why you chose it?
So I have to open up about it. I've been hoarding a little bit, and so we just downsized to the smallest possible bag. It's still kind of heavy. I would say around like 10 kilos or so, maybe a little bit more. This is the PGY Tech. I don't know the actual name of the model. It was around 150 USD. And yeah, it's gonna be a real lifesaver here because it's got literally enough space for everything I need. So considering I just got the camera bag right now, and I was heavily influenced and helped by Mitchell, sort of like helping me organize and clear out a lot of crap that I had in here that I didn't need, we can sort of go through. Laptop wise, I'm rocking a pretty beat up MacBook Pro 2018 version. This is before the M1 chip, 13-inch. It's got 500 gigabytes SSD. I don't remember how much RAM. I think it's like 18 gigs RAM.
16 gigs.
16 gigs RAM. I bought this used in the Philippines when my laptop broke on me in the beginning of the pandemic, and I couldn't travel anywhere. I was stuck on a small island. I had to get somebody to ship me this one to a friend on Facebook and had to drive it across borders during the pandemic in a van. It cost me so much money to get this laptop, but I needed to continue working. So
Really, how much extra did it cost you in the
probably
Philippines?
$300 to $400 extra to surpass all the borders of the pandemic and get somebody to personally drive it to me.
Oh my
To an
God.
island and then bring it on a boat to an island, just so I could. And I actually had to drive to a hotel off island. I had to take a boat just to update the software of the computer because this island internet was so slow. I couldn't get the updates for the computer.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was a mess during the pandemic. That was all that just to continue making YouTube videos. And that's stuff I don't really share on my channel. You know, it's like the behind the scenes of being a YouTuber, travel
Okay.
YouTuber. Besides that, cables wise, we've got a bunch of USB-C cables here. This is just the one for my phone. Super fast. I think they call it SuperVOOC.
Yeah, but if you guys know anything, the SuperVOOC is USB-A to USB-C. So even though this is a fast charger, it's kind of only for charging one device.
One device, the phone. But I love this thing. Charges the phone so quickly, it's unreal. It's like 45 minutes full charge. This is the iPhone cable. I just have one USB-C, and I have it attached to a Google 30 watt that I bought for my 6 Pro. Got the MacBook charger in there, and then got a 2000 or 20,000 milliamp 50 watt charger. I just bought this in Cambodia.
This is a brand I've never heard of.
Rosmos.
Rosmos. Rosmos. It's 50 watts out. So maybe it'll do 50 watts over USB-C power
And it
delivery.
can charge USB-C, and got a bunch of cables here. I've got cables for my hard drives, USB-C cables, just kind of like a conglomerate of cables in there. As for the two beefy babies, we've got a 128 gigabyte iPhone 13 Pro, not the Max, just the regular one.
We got an iPhone 11, just a regular one, not an iPhone 11 Pro. I really only need this one for the 0.5 lens. I find that for uploading short content, especially on Instagram, whether it's reels or stories, there's nothing that comes better than an iPhone 11. It's just like that lens. But audio-wise, everything battery-wise, when you're just using it as a Instagram phone, it'll last for like a week without charging. It'll last for like 6 days without charging. So, and after really we're charging it. This is something I picked up in Thailand recently. These were the first cameras I ever shot YouTube content on back in 2006, 2008, when I was a kid. I was just learning how to use a camera for the first time. These little camcorders. Actually, this was the exact camcorder I first started shooting on. It's a JVC with a 40x optical zoom. A couple of years ago, I made a video on my channel using a Super 8 camera. I filmed like a movie with a Super 8 camera over the course of a few months. And I loved that experience. And I wanted to kind of, while I was on this trip around the world, harker back to a more creative side of myself. So just being able to do all these fun zooms and make a little movie on this camcorder has been a really fun experience. I try to use it to film like more memorable moments in the travels. Like when small things happen, I like to film with this. This we mentioned earlier in the video, the Autumn Tech tripod. It's a tripod, selfie stick, kind of all in one. I use this every single day. It's like one of the best things I've ever used. I really could not recommend this enough. And I don't even think it's that expensive. They sent it to me for free a few months ago when I went on this trip. It was like, I think it's $20 retail. Literally, it's so strong. I've dropped this, I've beat it up. I cannot speak highly enough about this. It's actually an incredible piece of machinery, and it's only this big. It's super light too, like you can pack this anywhere. Other than that, for surfing footage mostly, action camera footage, I'm rocking the 11 Black Mini. I am one of those people that personally prefers my GoPros to be as small as possible with as many features packed into it. Most annoying part of this camera is that I can't really adjust the settings in camera. I have to use the app, and the app is so shitty I can't even explain. Connecting your phone to the GoPro app, to the GoPro to adjust the settings, it's near impossible. So I lock in a hyper view here, and I'm just not changing it. And then if I need to do any GoPro vlogging, like wide lens, I'm just using this one. So I can see myself and want to talk to the camera. It's the GoPro Hero 10 Black.
How is the black in terms of reliability?
It was great in the beginning. It's gotten worse, especially since I lost the original batteries. And I don't know if you know, but GoPro kind of locks the software of their batteries in the camera.
Some of them, yeah.
Some of them. So I have these NQ Telesin. Like I'm using batteries that are not meant for the charger. It's just a mix of ones that
Are they meant for the 10 black or
is
no?
For the 9 even.
Okay, so it's not enough it's not enough juice that it's getting.
Yeah, and so around 20%, I notice that it freezes usually, and it'll freeze the camera sometimes. But again, I love GoPro in some aspects, and I hate GoPro. I've noticed it with the 10, even with the original battery, it would freeze out, it would overheat. It's just a problem. It's a known problem with GoPro. It's better than the 9, but still not great. Not a reliable camera. I will never trust to shoot with this. It's always kind of a backup. Hard drive wise, I'm rocking 4 hard drives at the moment.
Quite a collection.
Yeah, we've got a. I think this is the T5. Yeah, T5, Samsung 1 terabyte. This has been an absolute life changer for me.
This is the T5. This is a chonker. This is bigger than the T7.
Yeah, I bought this on Amazon recently for less than $100, like around a year ago when I left the United States. It's been a life changer, especially work-wise and uploading footage to my team, to my editors. I just pop all the new footage from the iPhone via AirDrop to the computer, upload what I need to here, and upload this to the cloud. I've got this. This is dedicated to one YouTube channel. This is for my dinosaur channel. It's a 2 terabyte HDD by Seagate, ultra slim one. I've used a couple of these before when I'm traveling, and I really like the fact that they're very slim, easy to pack away, and I'm able to take care of them a little better. Then I've got a 4 terabyte hard drive dedicated to only footage from the Philippines for my Philippines YouTube channel, because I rock 3 YouTube channels at the moment, one for dinosaurs, one for Philippines travel videos, and then for my round the world footage, I've got another Seagate 5 terabyte footage, or 5 terabyte hard drive. This is all the round the world footage that's outside of the Philippines.
So we have total like 9, no.
We've got 1 plus 2, that's 3. Then 4, that's 7. Then 5. 11 terabytes.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I'm kind of starting to run low. I need more. I'd really like to get another SSD soon.
We might be able to get you one of those for a good deal here.
So that's that's what we're doing with memory. Let's take another look in here.
So we have maybe the most expensive camera
In here?
Yeah.
What, the drone?
I would call that the most expensive camera.
Why?
now.
This iPhone was around $1,000.
So around the same price as the drone?
The drone's around $700 without the controller.
Yeah, but with the controller, fly
controller,
mall,
yeah.
like
Other than that, I've got this for a memory card situation. I've got just like loads of SD cards for the GoPro, for the drone.
And so what, like, talking about all this gear and the stuff that you pack and the stuff that you don't pack,
Yeah.
right? Are there any pieces of gear that stick out in your memory of like, this was a great purchase, this was a terrible purchase?
Great purchases is always the iPhones. They're just super, super, super reliable. Like, they rarely fail me. Like, the only times where they get really annoying is when it's really hot outside and they overheat. And other than that, it would be what we're about to get into right now. And this, I mean, this is
Really?
unreal, man.
Okay, so
This has changed my life.
okay, so this is like an anecdote that like maybe doesn't matter as much for you because you don't do as much editing now.
Right.
But like when you're trying to edit something and you have slow storage, like this is considered like slow storage, right?
Very slow.
It like absolutely cripples the editing process.
Yeah.
Because your computer is constantly having to read, write off of that, especially if you have your autosave and scratch disk.
Yeah.
And so a friend of mine, he runs a full digital marketing agency. Shout out Stevie.
Shout out Stevie.
I do like the BTS videos for his YouTube channel, right? And he was talking about how he's had issues with Adobe Premiere, like crashing and like that. And then the other day, I was talking to him, and he's like showing me the hard drives that he edit off of, and he has like an 800 gigabyte project, and he's editing it off of these drives. I was like, you don't edit off of a solid state? He's like, why would I do that? I'm like, what?
I actually,
Because like you're asking the computer to like send, write, read, write.
I've been on a journey with my laptops. I actually, before I got this MacBook, the computer that failed me was a Microsoft
Surface Book.
Surface Book 2-in-1. It was a detachable,
Yeah.
and it had like a dedicated GPU, but it was only in the bottom part of the laptop.
Yeah.
And the thing would overheat, and then the tablet would disconnect. And I used to use this to edit documentaries on that laptop. It was hell on earth. It was hell on earth. It was the worst 2 years of my life dedicating to moving to PC. It completely turned me off of using a PC, and I know that's not necessarily like the case.
Why did you make that choice to get the 2-in-1?
I just felt like I was getting more, and I wanted to even potentially try video games like on the computer and using Steam, and most of the video games would stop working because the thing would disconnect, and I just didn't know enough. I really calculated it. Like I thought I was making the right decision. I was like, maybe I can leave the MacBook world forever and just go into like PC and Android and just leave iPhone and leave Android or leave Apple.
I mean, leave Apple. Well, Apple computers right now are the best. But
Yeah. And this was in 2018. So this was
before the Apple Silicon.
before, yeah. And I was just like, I was editing off of this. I never even got an SSD. And it just made the whole experience really horrible, to be honest. It was a really bad experience.
That's a bigger conversation.
Yeah.
But like, it's interesting that like people that want to get into like video production, if you're not a computer nerd,
Yeah.
or you have computer nerd friends, I'll be like, get this, get that, get that, get that. Don't get that. Get this. Change that. You're just gonna make a whole bunch of purchases
Yeah.
that end up leading you to a very average at best user experience.
I spent probably a good $2,000 on
Probably more than
trying to change my lifestyle with the computer, when at my happiest I was shooting with an iPhone 11 and using a 12-inch MacBook from 2015 or 16. That computer was unreal. It had one USB-C port, which made it very hard to do anything.
Yep.
But that computer was unreal. It lasted me for 3 years traveling around the world, and it was so good and so light. So I'd like to get back to that point at some point in my life.
And so here we open up to the drone. So what's your experience been with drones?
My favorite ever, I've had the DJI Mavic Pro, the Pro Plus or whatever it was called, Pro Platinum I think it was called.
Sure.
The Mavic Air, the first Mavic Air, then the Mavic 2 Zoom, and now finally the Mavic 3 Pro.
The Mavic Mini.
Mavic
Mini
it's the most
3
freaking
Pro.
confusing name.
The
of a
Mav.
drone.
No. It's just the DJI Mini 3 Pro.
DJI Mini 3 Pro.
I think.
That's this one. I think it's Mavic Mini 3 Pro. I think.
Maybe.
The
Probably.
Mavic 2 Zoom was the best piece of machinery, camera, I've ever used in my entire life.
Because
The things I was able to get with that camera.
reliable.
The footage I was able to get, the reliability, the distance, the connection. It was so freaking heavy. but the footage I got with that camera of from elephants in the jungle to leopards in the savannah to surfers catching massive double overhead barrels on an island to filming a rally car racing in a like an off-road track
Where were you filming rallying?
in Orlando, in Florida, to I mean to like I can't even explain. There were like so many moments with that drone. I like circling buildings in Tel
like,
Aviv and
what
like,
happened?
cargo
Like,
ships.
what happened? It like
It
crashed.
lasted. I made my money back on it like tenfold from the footage I shot with it and footage I sold with it. And it died when I had to witness a horrible super typhoon in the Philippines. It got so I literally was using it to like I covered my body with it to try to protect it from the water that was wafting us, and it just didn't survive the typhoon. The typhoon killed it. It got completely wet.
Do you have video of that on your channel?
Yeah. I have videos of me surviving that typhoon on my channel. I actually, the drone, the next morning, I got it up off the air to try to film some of the footage of the destruction. I had that drone and an FPV drone, a DJI FPV drone. They both got completely soaked during the typhoon. The FPV was still able to fly, but we weren't able to charge any devices. So I only have a little bit of drone footage after the typhoon. So I got of the destruction. The Mavic 2 Zoom, it wasn't able to film. I couldn't use the gimbal, but the camera flew. The camera flew around. The drone was able to fly perfectly fine.
And what happened to you? You sold it?
I left it for my friend, a really good friend of mine, Maxime, on the island, and I said, listen, if you're able to sell it for whatever money you need, go ahead and take it. Like, I didn't want to deal with getting it out of the island. And he put it in rice and was able to get the camera to work again and sold it for around $1,000.
Wow.
Which is unreal because I bought it for like $1,500.
But then in the Philippines, import tax, everything's...
Yeah, I mean, I bought it in Sri Lanka used. I actually traded my DJI Mavic Air for it and got it. It was the best purchase I've ever made. The footage I got from that thing is unreal. I probably have, and I've never like calculated or sold, but I probably have around $100,000 of footage sitting on my hard drives from that drone that I could probably sell to
Where do you sell
production
it?
companies. There's a website called Black Box or something where you can upload drone
Yeah.
footage. I just never have done it. But I have footage of like every square inch of the Philippines on that drone that could
Wow.
probably be sold, and I've sold some of it in the future or in the past. This drone's amazing, but it's limited, especially compared to the Mavic 2 Zoom. But what it can accomplish as a tiny camera is amazing, and the fact that for the most part, when I had my Pixel 6 Pro, this thing was smaller than my Pixel 6 Pro and lighter than my Pixel 6 Pro. It's actually smaller than my Oppo, which is insane. And I could literally, if I wanted to, I can fit it in my pocket. I've done it before when I've needed to hide this thing.
When have you needed to hide it?
I don't remember. It was at a border crossing somewhere. I can't remember when exactly. But literally, it could fit in my pocket and actually pretty inconspicuous. Especially if you sling a bag over this,
Yeah.
nobody would know. There's some country that I went to that you weren't allowed to come in with the drone or come out of with the drone.
Myanmar?
Can't remember. No, it wasn't Myanmar because I haven't been to Myanmar. I gotta remember, but I don't remember when it was.
Wait,
but
so Myanmar is a country I've been into, but you haven't?
I can't go. There's a war going on right now. I want to go.
Oh, I see. I did a motorcycle trip, and then we
Yeah.
on my channel I did a motorcycle trip with my buddy Brock, and we went to the border. We crossed over the border, and we met like a Myanmar family, and then they invited us back the following morning for breakfast. It was like pretty.
Just a 1 day in and out.
Yeah. No, 1 day in, came back out, then went back in.
Oh, cool. I really want to go. That's one of my bucket list countries. But yeah, that's a drone. Beautiful little thing. I think the limitations here are the distance that it can fly, especially in certain weather conditions, because it doesn't use the same
Transmission.
transmission that the Mavic 2 Zoom used. I tend to find that if I'm in a city or if I'm in a forest or in a mountain area, I can't cover the same distances I was able to cover with the Zoom. The Zoom was able to fly 6 kilometers, 4 kilometers. It would just go. It would go, and the battery life was forever. This one can't handle the wind as good. The gimbal will just flop out sometimes when it's too windy. I've had issues with the camera fogging up, which has been a big issue for a lot of people. But overall,
Have you crashed it yet?
I've crashed it a couple times, and it's held up perfectly fine. Actually, Mitchell, I was flying it with a broken propeller, and Mitchell disciplined me and made sure I changed my propeller. But I got this with the Fly More combo for around $1,000 a year ago. 3 batteries. The remote, which is a really, really great experience because I used to fly just from my phone. This has been amazing. I got the Pixel 5 in here. I've got the my cousin has a cell phone shop in Israel, and he just kind of gave this to me. This attaches to the back of the case of the iPhone 13.
Yeah, MagSafe.
I really only use this in emergency situations. I have needed to use it before, and it's been a lifesaver. but I rarely even remember to charge this thing and use it. But it's a good backup actually. The problem is I would always have it on, but I can't use the tripod with this, so I tend to just not use it. This is just a little charger for that camcorder that I had.
Oh, and just out of curiosity, how do you charge all these batteries?
Usually with my MacBook charger.
USB-C.
Yeah, USB-C.
Literally living in a world where you can bro, and you can use this as a battery bank for your everything.
Yeah, I rarely ever do that, but I have done it before.
We are living in a USB-C world.
For real emergency situations with the iPhone, this guy just does a horrible job in low light. Unless I'm using the proprietary lens, like the middle lens. If I use the wide angle lens, it's just impossible. So I'll sometimes rock this if it's super dark. I hate the light that this light produces. I don't know if this thing has any charge. It's just horrible.
Super directional.
Yeah, it's not good, but I sometimes need to use it.
Awesome.
Especially when I dual wield the flash from here and this.
So if you had any advice to people wanting to start like a travel vlogger, let's say someone wanted to travel around the world and make some videos, but they weren't a travel vlogger, what gear would you tell them to get, or what gear would you tell them to skip?
Only this. Or maybe even just this. That's all you need.
Wait, this is for the thumbnail. Hold on. Just pause this.
1000% upgrading to the 15. Like there's no way that it's not going to happen. This thing, just in case you go in a water situation, it'll just hold up better than the iPhone. Even though the iPhone, I've gotten it wet, I've got it submerged into water, it's done an amazing job. And if you really want to be a little bit extra and you're really thinking career-wise, get a drone. You really don't have to anymore.
Do you have your Part 107 license for when you fly in America?
No, because it's the 249 grams. I haven't bothered to do it, and I'm barely ever in America. So it's like, that's just the honest reality. I don't even see myself flying this in America anymore. I flew my drone between 2015 to 2019 in America in some really illegal situations probably, and I don't even know if I should say this on camera, but I have footage of like Monument Valley, the Grand Canyon, New York City, Los Angeles.
But that's before those laws were in place.
Exactly.
That's okay.
I've got tons of footage of America on drone that probably you could never get again, or you'd need a lot of licenses to pay a lot of money. That I'm content with pretty much never flying my drone in the US anymore. I'm just like, I'm happy to not do it. I'd rather do it in a country like Vietnam where it's a little bit more lax, or you could probably get out of situations a little bit easier. Same thing with the Philippines. I've covered every square inch of the country with drone. I feel like I never have to really fly a drone there
Awesome.
again.
So then,
I used to think that you have to show up when you're collaborating with a hostel or with a tour company or with anybody. You'd have to show up with this big rig. I mean, I used to come in with a Joby pod like this. I think I even had the bigger one than this one.
that's the biggest.
Okay, so I don't know why I remember it bigger, but
That is the biggest. That's
maybe
like
I
the
had an
5K.
attachment that was a little bit bigger. I had this one, and then an A7S II with a fucking giant microphone.
Yeah. The Video Mic Pro.
And this is what I felt like I needed to walk into a building to show them, like, hey, I'm a YouTuber. I'm a vlogger. Because Casey Neistat made this a thing.
Yeah.
And I copied that for years, and I loved it.
now-
It was cool. But now I feel like I just show up like this with my little iPhone, sometimes even without a tripod. And
that's
what I get is a more natural reaction from people when I'm talking to them. And I feel like no hostel owner or no business or no place that I'm collaborating with ever judges me for this, because this has been accepted as like the most powerful medium of creation moving forward.
That's it.
It's amazing, and the industry has changed so much in the last few years that I feel like as long as you have this in your hands, doesn't matter what version it is, as long as it's like the 11 and up,
You're good.
You have a powerhouse of media creation here. You don't
Okay.
really need anything else.
You heard it here first. You heard it here from the traveling Clat. Leave your big heavy camera at home.
Yeah.
Really, it's more about the whatever minimal camera you have and the accessories that you might need to make that work in a different situation.
Come focus on the story if you want to tell a story. If you want to take amazing pictures with a DSLR, I think there's some phones that could be a change for that.
I mean, for me, the Pixel 7 Pro changes a lot of that.
Yeah, the Pixel can come close, but I think something will always be satisfying about having a DSLR in Safari when you're taking a picture of an elephant. It's just different. But if you want to tell a story,
Just the camera that's with you is the
that's
best.
all you need, baby. That's all you need.
That's it. Okay. Links to his channel in the description down below. Hope you guys enjoyed taking a deep dive into kind of the more technical aspects that you would use, or some of the gear that you would use to travel the world and make thousands of dollars telling stories.
Not in the last year, but yes, before.
In general. He's being so kind. Okay. Peace.